DeathsStalker here. So I thought I'd talk about something that is something that only a portion of society has to deal with, and even smaller number of motorcyclists, and that is riding a motorcycle during shift work. Now, a lot of my friends, you know, who were very lucky, they got jobs that were 9 to 5. And my first job was working shifts, and it was 8-hour shifts. Now, back then it was 5 nights, followed by 2 days off, followed by 5 days, followed by 1 day off, followed by 5 afternoons, followed by 2 3/4 days off. And I'm just trying to figure out what this guy's doing here. Oh, there we go. Signals aren't important. And you know, shift works, of course, themselves totally mess up your body clock. If you've ever worked it, like, you know, come off a night shift, you're driving home, and you know, a lot of times when I get up in the morning and I hear somebody's crashed a car, you know, this morning or whatnot. Now, of course, the first thing people start thinking is, oh, it's a drunk driver, and it very possibly could. But of course, I'm thinking, because I used to work shifts, it could have been someone just coming off a night shift, you know, or working a double, that sort of thing, and they just fell asleep at the wheel, which is a thing, and it does happen. The nice thing is, on a motorcycle, at least I always found, coming home after a night shift, just the driving on the bike in the fresh air, sometimes the cold air, actually kept me much more alert. I found it much more common coming home in my truck at the time, having a good chance of feeling I was nodding off. So, you know, when I used to come home after like my 5th night shift, when your butt was dragging on the ground because you were so tired, the radio was going full blast, sometimes the windows was down, you know, just to get me home, because, you know, I get home and like probably 10 seconds after my head hit the pillow, I was out cold. But on a motorcycle, you know, like this air hitting you, you know, there's a lot more stimulation. The fact that, you know, you're on top of a machine instead of sitting in a box, I just found it was much better driver and much more alert. Didn't mean I wasn't tired, I just found it to be a lot better. Now, of course, the downside is, of course, you're driving home after a night shift in the pouring rain. That really sucked. But and that's one of the reasons why I ended up buying a truck eventually. But the real downside of working shift work is riding with your friends. You know, when I was working shifts back when it was 8-hour, we went from 8-hour shifts after about 5 years of working there, and then it switched over to 12-hour shifts, which were better. 8-hour shifts with the company I was at, it was about every 7 weeks you get a weekend off. So, you know, most of your friends who are working Monday to Fridays, you know, they invite you to parties and stuff like that. You know, there was a lot of parties, a lot of barbecues, a lot of rides with my motorcycling friends I couldn't go to because I was working. And that sucks. And I mean sucks. Especially when you consider that, you know, in Canada we have about 5.5, 6 months max of motorcycle riding. And, you know, in that case, I get, you know, not counting any vacation time, you know, maybe 4 weekends of motorcycle riding where I can actually ride with friends. Now, when we switched to 12-hour shifts, you had more or less every other weekend off. Like the one weekend was sort of like, you know, you finished on the Thursday, and like technically the Friday morning after working nights, and then you had to go back in on the Monday for days. So, you know, basically your Friday you ended up wasting it sleeping, but you had the Thursday or the Saturday or Sunday to sort of do stuff, but you couldn't stay up late Sunday because you had to be in at like 6 o'clock on the Monday. And at least with that, it made it a heck of a lot nicer to hang out with my friends, and I got to do a lot more riding. But again, still, when you're working shifts, you know, when you're your friends want to go for a ride, again, it's like a 50-50 chance if you're going to be available. Now, the one nice thing about the 12-hour shifts is you tended to get a lot of time off in the middle of the week. So you'd have like a Wednesday, Thursday, or a Tuesday, Wednesday sort of thing off. And if you wanted to go for a ride, it was awesome because there was no traffic. You'd be out there because people working Monday to Friday are working, so you get a lot less traffic, so you can actually enjoy that. But of course, you can't really ride with your friends because they're working. But just one of the downsides you get from shift work, all I can suggest, like, the nice thing about working shifts, if you're working at a company that works shifts, is generally getting good pay. Usually a lot better than people who are working Monday to Friday, unless they're in a professional, position like an engineer or whatnot, where they're getting paid big bucks. So, when I was working shifts, I made tons of money, which made it, great to afford my stuff on my race bike. But then, of course, the downside of that was I had a hard time going to races because a lot of times I wanted to go racing and I couldn't because there was, I had to work. And in the long run, I ended up transferring to another job simply to get straight days, Monday to Friday. And at the time, I took like a $10,000 pay cut to do it. But at least it let me, go racing when I wanted to, and go out with my friends when I wanted to. Of course, racing then became a heck of a lot more expensive. But in the long run, I was much happier, and actually, it's where I met my wife. So I guess there's a double win there. So anyways, that's just sort of the things you sort of get when you have your friends, who work shifts. Some people don't realize that it really sucks, for the social life. But sometimes the pay makes up for it. Might be one of the reasons why sometimes your friend's driving a really nice bike or car is because they're getting paid so much more money at that job because they work shifts. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. DeathsStalker signing off.